Hi everyone, it's Paula, Empty Nester at 40. Today's project, you will need the following items: a piece of wood, scrap wood, 2 of the wooden galvanized picture frames, wood glue, 2 of the wood stems that came in a little pack from Dollar Tree, some type of ribbon, paint. I will be using plaster from Waverly Chalk. And that's it. Let's go ahead and get started. To start, we're going to go ahead and just dry brush a little bit of the plaster Waverly Chalk onto the scrap piece of wood. Now that we're done dry brushing the scrap piece of wood, we're going to set that aside and we are going to dry brush the wood stems. Okay, now I'm going to grab my wood slab and I'm going to grab a sheet of sandpaper and I'm going to sand it just slightly. There are some spots where I put just a little bit too much paint on, so I just want to see if I can just sand some of that off just to give it that true dry brush look that I was going for. Okay, so next we're going to grab our 2 wood stems and we are going to position them on the piece of wood. Making sure that the flattest piece is against the piece of wood, it will just help with it holding better. Now, I did make markings, but I did it prior to painting, so I was trying to see if the markings were still there so that my wood was aligned properly. I'm going to use the wood glue. You can choose to use hot glue if you'd like, but I'm going to use the wood glue just to give it more of a permanent, stable hold. Once I have my stems positioned and glued down, I'm just going to put a little bit of weight onto them. I am using 2 bottles of Waverly chalk paint, and now we just wait for them to dry. While we wait for the wood glue to dry, let's go ahead and grab our 2 frames that will be hanging from the wood stems and the ribbon that we will be using. Now I'm going to leave the frames in their natural color. I'm not going to do anything, and the ribbon that I'm using is a thin burlap ribbon. There's no wire attached to it. So my vision is to have one frame hang a little lower than the other. So I'm going to take the ribbon and very gently wrap it around the wood stem. Because it's still drying, I am not putting any tension or pressure to it. This is just giving me an idea of where I need to cut the ribbon and then glue it to the frame. I'm going to do the same process for the second frame and just wait until the wood stems completely cure and dry. I do want to point out that at the end, after I hung my decor piece on the wall, I realized that the way that I glued these ribbons were actually making the frames crooked or not flush to the wall. So I ended up removing the ribbon from being in the center of the picture frame and hanging one piece of each of the ribbons to the side of the frames rather than having both pieces in the middle. Okay, now we are going to check to make sure that our stems are fully glued onto the piece of wood, which they are. Now, one thing that should have been done prior to the stems being glued was to add a little hanger in the back so that you can mount it on the wall, which I completely forgot to. But these are the two options that I have. I'm going to use one of the sawtooth hangers, I believe is what they're called, and they have sharp edges, one on each side. All you have to do is push it into the piece of wood, a little bit of force and pressure, and you should be able to get it in there, and it'll have a good hold so that you can hang this onto the wall. Now at this time, I would like to thank everybody that has subscribed to my channel. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're notified the next time I upload a video. Once you have that securely into the piece of wood, now we are just going to move into the final step of the project, which is just hanging the frames from this piece of wood. Now, this was a Pinterest inspired project. If you don't have scrap pieces of wood, I'm sure that you can use one of the signs from Dollar Tree, or those black and white signs that I see a lot of people that are a thicker piece of wood, maybe using one of those to complete this project. It's a little difficult to show the finished product by holding it. So you will get a better view of the finished project once I hang it on the wall and you can see how I added it to my decor. Thank you everyone for watching.